Hello and welcome back to the Medeek wall plugin. This is Nathan Wilkerson, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about integration between all the different plugins, and I'm calling this session the vision. And what I mean by that is we are trying to accomplish something here with all these plugins that we're creating. I just wanted to bring up real quickly the web page here that we have that has all the resources on my website, and right here you can see that we've created now 3 different plugin extensions, or 3 different SketchUp extensions, sorry. And the 3 of them are the Medeek Truss, Medeek Wall, and the Medeek Foundation. Now you can see that we're probably missing a few tools yet, but I think we've kind of got a good start here, and I'm tentatively calling this library or extension suite the mdkBIM or mdkBIM. And I'm going to try to demonstrate today just a little bit how you kind of put all these pieces together. And I would just like to start with doing a little I don't know, a detached garage, I guess, just to kind of show you an example of how all these extensions kind of work together. So let's go ahead and get started with a slab foundation. I'm going to throw just a small 16 by 24 slab down, and just go ahead and that. Mostly I'm just going to go with the defaults. I'm not going to go into a lot of details as to all those parameters or anything. Just want to show you a real quick lay down of some walls and some and the roof. So anyways, that is using the foundation plugin. And so first of all, we lay down a foundation, and I usually like to start from the, just like you build any structure in real life, you start from the bottom and you work your way toward the top. That seems to work reasonably well as far as workflow goes. Next thing I'll do is I'm going to put 4 walls up. So we'll go ahead and draw walls, and in this case I want to do a 10-foot wall. And now with the advanced options, there's a lot of options here. So I'm going to turn on the trim just to show you real quick all the myriad of options we have here. And actually I'm going to turn off a lot of this. Let's see here, we've got band boards. We're going to turn that band board off, and we're also going to turn off the freeze board. But we are going to leave the skirt board with the water or drip cap on top of that. So that should be about right. Yeah, and I'm also going to turn on the insulation just for the heck of it. So I'm going to go ahead and update on that. Okay, so we're just drawing some exterior walls, and like I said in previous videos, you want to draw on your outside corners is where you're wanting to place your walls. And so here we go, and I'm just quickly placing these walls. And to finish it off, you want to get right to the corner of the framing. Okay, and there's our 4 walls. Fairly simple. Now let's go ahead and add in a garage door for this guy. I'm going to go with a 12 by 8 on that. And let's leave the header as it is for now. Go ahead and turn the advanced garage door options on. And what that's going to do is load up now a bunch of other parameters that we're not going to enter. And we're also going to leave the portal frames off for now, but I'm actually going to turn that on later, as you can see. So let's go ahead and just hit OK. Let's just go with the defaults on this for now. And again, all of these parameters you can set after the fact. It's all parametric. So okay, and you can see we've got some anchor bolts here that are out of place, so we're just going to go ahead and delete those for now. Now remember that anything that you do manually in these plugins, basically, you can't. The plugins are parametric, so when you refresh any of these wall panels, any manual changes that you made will be blown away. So typically you don't want to do a lot of manual changes, but if you do, then you need to keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in a man door. I'm going to turn the advanced options on. That's going to give me the installation of the door, the exterior trim, the interior casing. Great. Just go ahead and hit defaults on all that. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to key in like 5 feet from the edge. Let's see, how did, I think we need it, oh, here we go, 5 feet, sorry. There we go. And then let's go ahead and put a couple windows in there. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger on that. I'm going to make it a slider actually. I'm going to bump that header up to 6.8 because we're going a little wider on that. And again, turn on the window options. I'm going to turn the shutters off. I don't want shutters on this design. And on the window type, we're going to go with a slider. And we are going to go with a grill. Let's go with the perimeter grill. Okay, everything else the same. Pretty much standard, casing, all that. Keep it all standard. So you can see these are rather large windows. Okay. Let's put one on this wall too while we're at it. Okay. Okay, so right there we've got the walls up, we've got the windows, we've got the doors, and you can see that I've enabled all of the framing notes just so that we can show those. And granted, you don't have to, and if you do, you can always turn those off by turning off you know, the dimension 2 layer, and the dimension 3 layer is the labels for the walls. Okay, so if we want to turn that off. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put a roof on this guy. So what I like to do too is I like to turn the cladding and the sheathing off just so I don't get too cluttered in the model while I'm working. Let's turn off the gypsum, and let's turn off the insulation, just so we can kind of see our framing down below, and our sheathing and our cladding. Okay, now we're down to the framing. Oh, let's turn off the trim as well. Okay, now we've kind of stripped it down to the bare bones here. Now let's go ahead and add in a truss roof. So, and now we're using the truss plugin to finish this off. And we're going to go here and just hit these 3 corners. Okay, let's go to defaults. And the only thing I'm going to change here is I'm going to enable structural outlookers. And I think everything else we'll just leave as is. Seems reasonable enough. Now it's asking for the gypsum. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just leave that. And the gutter style, yeah, because we had gutters enabled. Okay, so threw some gutters in there for us. Great. Okay, and let's turn on the cladding just for a second here. Okay, so we noticed that we had the green cladding, and we want that to match here on this one as well. So actually, let's just go ahead and go into the wall edit. We're going to edit this wall panel. So we go ahead in there and come down here to our cladding. That's the trim. Yeah, there are a lot of parameters here. So we're going to change that to the heather moss. Hit update on that. Okay. And, you know, I guess we'd have to do that pretty much with all these wall panels since we did that right from the get-go, but it's not too hard to do. And I'm not going to do it for all of them right now. The main thing I want to show, though, is that you know, you can go in and parametrically change all of these things. So, for instance, now I want to edit this roof. I don't like this 412 look, so let's go ahead and hit 612 on that and see if we can update that. And we can. And then also I'm coming down here into the gutters options. I notice we don't have any downspouts. I want to turn those on. And I hit update. And I notice my downspouts only drop down 9 feet. So let's hit them. Let's drop them down a little further. So I do that. Okay, so that looks a little better. So I kind of, you know, have everything with the roof as far as I want that. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Yeah, I mean, so there you have it. I mean, you literally have a fully modeled 3D structure of a garage. Let's just turn on all the layers. Just look at that real quick, and then I'm going to dive into the framing a little bit. Okay, so with all the trim and everything enabled, yeah, there you have it. You have a full 3D representation of a garage. Granted, we've got to fix those cladding colors, but that's basically it. So, and you know, it's kind of nice to have that done, and it's pretty much, there's not a whole lot of manual editing or drawing stuff by hand, and that's taken us about 10 minutes or 5-10 minutes of work to get that knocked out. Now we may want to refine this a little bit, so let's turn off all of this cladding and stuff so we can really see what's underneath the skeleton of the structure. And of course, as a structural engineer, that's what really kind of interests me more than anything else, but I do realize that most architects are not as interested in it as I am, but let's dive into that just a little bit here. So let's turn off some of our other layers. Let's turn off the sheathing. I think we've got the gypsum already turned off. Yes, we do. We have that turned off. Okay, so and you'll notice too that the gypsum, we've got the roof, we've got the ceiling. It's all there. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off though. And we're going to turn off the wall insulation, actually wall cladding first, and sheathing. Okay. I guess I turn the sheathing back on. Too many settings here. Okay, and I'm just showing you though. Okay, now the wall insulation, you can see that it's modeled all of that insulation there as well. And you don't have to do that, but that's if that option is there available to you if you want it. And let's turn off the trim. Okay, and also I think we need to turn off the gutters, just so we can really see stuff here. Okay. Now we've kind of stripped it down to the skeleton of the structure. We could of course turn off the doors and everything else, the windows and all that. Actually, if we turn off the door hardware. Okay, so we've pulled the doors out, and we're going to pull out the windows as well. And the casing, where is the casing? There it is. Yeah. Okay, so now we're right down to the bare bones, the bare meat of the structure is all I like to call it. And all that information is still there, it's just not being shown. Let's go ahead and let's change this door now, this garage door. As we can see, we've got small shear panels on both sides, which are probably, the aspect ratio is not right for a standard shear wall. And so in that case, you're probably going to have to go to a portal frame, which is a prescriptive method of handling these sorts of situations. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the edit opening button. And I'm going to jump in here real quick, and I'm going to turn on portal frames. Okay. And now you can see this here will show, and we're going to change, we've got 24 inches on both sides. We're going to portal frame that right out. So we're going to do 24 inches on both sides. And right now the hold downs for this feature are not have not been enabled, but that's okay. We'll just leave that as is and hit update. Okay, now you see the framing has drastically changed. So we've gone from a conventionally framed opening to what's called a portal frame opening. Okay, and so this would be more typically what you would have in a situation like this, where you've got tall shear panels on both sides. The aspect ratio doesn't meet the requirements for regular shear panels. And we will get the hold downs added, and then you'll basically have a hold down here and a hold down here. And right now with the plugin as the way it is, the wall plugin, we actually can add some hold downs there, and let's go ahead and do that. But it's not going to add it to both sides of the shear panel, it's just going to add it to the one side. So we'll go ahead here under the advanced options, we're going to turn hold downs on, and we're going to use just a regular STHD14, both sides, yes, and we don't need hold down bolts, so let's hit none there and hit update. Okay, and now you can see that we've got a strap hold down right there on each corner. Close that out. I'm just going to zoom in right quick here and show you. And you'll see also that you have this little representation here just showing you there's a hold down there in the structure. When you're in plan view, you'll be able to see that. But there's a typical strap hold down that's embedded into the concrete of the structure. So, but on a portal frame, you're going to want one here as well, and that is the feature that will need to be added. And so what I'm getting at with all of this is that I'm trying to create a system whereby we can fully automate the design of the structure, and get away from having to manually draw a lot of these things. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm lazy and I don't want to have to draw a lot of things manually. And so if I have a tool that can I'll automate most of this process, then that's the direction I want to go. One last thing I just wanted to do here was, for instance, this header here is probably a little too small. So let's go ahead and again we're gonna hit this edit opening button, and we're gonna jump back in here, and you can see we've got our garage door header, and you've got a lot of options here as far as what you can use or can't use. I mean, well, it's what you can use, I guess. We're gonna go ahead and just custom enter in a glue lam. I'm going to go 10.5 on that, just 1.5. I'll hit update, and so now we've got a glue lam in there. Okay, and you'll notice that right here on the call out, you've got the call out calling out that glue lam header across that opening. Okay, so yeah, so the vision, I guess, with this whole plugin suite is we want to have a way of designing buildings completely, and we want to design them accurately, and in other words, almost as accurate as you can build them. And so a guy could come along here now with his measure tool, and he could pull measurements directly off of this model and be able to check those with reality, and then they should agree. And so in my mind, a contractor or a builder should be able to have SketchUp on their laptop somewhere on this job site, and he should be able to have this model given to him by the architect or the engineer or whoever is the owner, and pull measurements directly off of it. I mean, if he needs to check and see what that overhang really is, he can come here and say, oh, okay, that's what it's supposed to be. So yeah, and that sort of thing, I don't see it done much in the construction industry right now, and maybe in the commercial end of things it's happening more than in the residential. But at least I know in the residential, you get these paper plans, and then you give those to the builder, and they end up all tattered and torn on the job site. I don't even know how these guys read them sometimes, and the information is not. It should be in a more of electronic format anyways these days, the way things are going. But and ultimately what I want to see happen is like I've just started messing with this estimating piece as well, and I'm going to pull that up real quick. So here's the little window, and if I select all, I get all 4 of those wall panels, and then I calculate it, and now I've got and I've just started adding this. I haven't added all the framing in. I've just added the sheathing, cladding, and gypsum in the areas, and so you got your net area and your total area, and it's dropping it out for each wall, and basically if you need to go to a CSV report or send that out for estimating purposes into Excel, you can do that, and then we can open that up in Excel and estimate and put together a cost estimate for this whole job. So that is the estimating piece, and that again has just been, we're just getting that framework put together now. And then ultimately, you've got the engineering piece, and so I want to have it so that a guy can come along here, click this engineering button, enter in a few site parameters for the job site, and then we do the vertical calcs, we do the lateral calcs. We can check, what we need for shear walls and get those in there. We can check the headers, check them vertical for vertical loads, snow loads, etc. Also check the foundations, so ultimately I think there's really 4 components here, and that is my vision, is to have a program or a system in place where the designer, the engineer, the estimator, and the builder or the contractor all can work from the same electronic model, and that information is passed freely via SketchUp and with the plugins between all four parties. And in my mind, that is the direction, and that is where BIM needs to go. And that is kind of the vision of what I'm trying to accomplish with these plugins. So anyways, just wanted to kind of demonstrate roughly what you can do with the plugin thus far. There's a lot of work yet to be done. The engineering piece, of course, has not even really been touched on yet. The estimating piece is just starting, and the design piece, we still have a bunch of holes yet with that as well, but it's, I think, well on its way, and we're starting to see some progress. So as always, thank you for your interest in this project, and I always appreciate any feedback or comments, and hopefully this has been somewhat helpful to you. Thank you.